So, love then. Now, I know all about memes, but sometimes they're the only way to reach people. You know that meme that says, it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile? It takes more energy to hate than it does to love. You can't solve anything with hate. How can you have a dialogue with people who you decide you don't like when you've never even met them? That's just stupid. There's another saying that says never meet your heroes. I think it's a really good thing. Sometimes. Obviously some of them are rather wrong. But, you know, I think sometimes we need to be disillusioned. You're all off in a little world of your own. And I get it. I quite like my own little world. All the brain damage I've had. When I can't hear people properly, my brain makes up like little cartoons in my head. It's quite amusing. And I just sit and laugh to myself because, quite frankly, it's better than listening to rabid hatred. If you're full of hate, it's you hate, not other people. This is a psychological term called projection. So, maybe you need to have a conversation with yourselves instead of screaming and shouting at the world about everyone else coming over here and stealing your shit, yes? Because, as far as I can see, you're the one with the problem. You can call me naive as much as you want. I'm not naive. I've been around stage folk and sports folk since I was 4. There's no naivety going on in show business, yeah? None. You ought to be getting the point of that now. Alright, we weren't allowed to be naive. We're actually not very stupid in the head. So, choose love. Learn to love you. My Auntie Jenny said something really lovely when I come back from London when I was nearly killed. And she said, just because he's done that to you does not invalidate how true your love was. Loving somebody and not accepting unacceptable behaviour are very sane things to do. I'm hundreds of miles away from everything I know. I'm very lonely. The bed I've got is bigger than the biggest tent we've had to camp in. I'm absolutely freezing. I've been in like system shock the last 2 days. Like I've just been hit again. I barely stop being on the toilet and throwing up most of the time, but I have one to use, so, you know, that'll do nicely for now. So fucking grateful, it's unbelievable. If I could stop being sick long enough, maybe I'd be able to work this out and express it. Excuse it. I've been having to do coffee and sugar to keep going for months, and caffeine's not really very helpful, is it? Unless you want it to be. My skin's absolutely terrible. If you've got a problem with your skin, right, you need to love you better, because unlike some people's filthy ideas, right, your biggest organ is not in your pants. It's called your skin. If your skin is poorly, that means your insides are fucked and you need to sort yourself out. You're not loving yourself, are you? If you loved yourself better, then maybe you wouldn't feel so cranky and want to scream at the world. I know this because I've been ill for a very long time, and with things like fibromyalgia and ME, right, they usually come and go, and when it's beyond, they just stay, and it's really bad. yeah, I do wake up screaming in the night because I have PTSD, and I have had every vertebra in my spine compromised. I've had my pelvis shattered. I've had my coccyx broken 2, maybe 3 times. I've had my head pounded so many times it's unbelievable. I had all my limbs dislocated and my hands and feet stomped on by Dorset police in December. And they say that I'm the violent person. Maybe you should lock up people that abuse people. And I'm not talking about recent events because that's been dealt with. I'm not J Public, and I don't think I'm any better than anyone else before you even start that shit, alright? Creative people, right? If you sign a contract, you're owned. My leg's just dislocated from my pelvis again. Ow. This is my right knee, right? Here, I don't know if you can see it. When I was in somewhere between 22 and 24, I was doing a mums and tots morning at Poole Sports Centre because they had a free crash and it was £3.50, and I was scared. I was stuck in the house alone. My daughter's father was a nutter. Treated us better when he wasn't there than when he was. Mainly because I'd had to get the police to remove him and give my daughter back quite regularly. Got a bit much. These are things no one should have to tell their child on their 16th birthday when they're having a fucking cow about something that's not even true. Right? So, yeah. Where was I? Anyway, it's Saturday morning. I think it might be the 15th of July. Funny looking morning. This hat's one of the few things I managed to bring with me. I had to leave everything. Had no choice. So, sports kids, art kids, you know, science kids, anyone that are kind of promoted up. Management and handling, these are problems, especially for kids. Most of us are managed by our parents. Now, I don't think I did any paid performances, and I don't believe that my mum made any money from me for that, and it's not about that, and she's a very poorly woman. I think she has bipolar, Munchausen's by proxy, OCD, definitely religious mania, which is completely contrary to the faith that she raised me in. And whatever happened to her was pretty extreme. And I don't know what it was, but it wasn't until she was 60 she told me the reason she could never learn to swim was because her grandma looked after her in Boscombe. Lottie Irene Beatrice Hurdle. Lottie Beatrice Irene Hurdle. What a beautiful name. Anyway, I can't get it the right way around. Brain injuries. Yeah. So when Grandad was away in the war and Gran was away doing other things during the daytime, when they'd been bombed out of Southampton, and then they ended up going to New Milton and then coming to Dorset, which was then Hampshire. So great grandma and her friends, they'd have beach huts down Boscombe Beach, and what put my mother off swimming all her life is she got to see all the bodies wash up on shore from the war, because she's a war baby, she was a leave baby. So she was born in December 1941, 4th of December 1941. Can you imagine growing up seeing decomposing corpses on a beach and then people tell you how to swim? After Gran had left in the mid to late 50s, they moved to a houseboat on Blue Lagoon at one point, my granddad and my aunt and my mum and their little brother. And Mum said someone thought it'd be really interesting to teach them how to swim by throwing them off Blue Lagoon pier. Because that's really how you teach someone, isn't it? By killing them. Because they're going to learn that lesson, aren't they? They're going to put that into... When they're dead, right, they're going to think, oh yeah, I know how to deal with it. Now I'm dead. I'll just kill them all, yeah? And then there won't be a problem. We're all here for a reason. If we didn't need all of us, then there'd only be one of us, and that wouldn't be a very exciting experiment, would it? No. You can't have a sense of humour about this shit. If you can't laugh at yourself after all the stupid shit you do, and I don't mean other people laughing at you, I mean you've got to be able to laugh at yourself, yeah? There's that old joke, right? It's, oh God, what is it? I bought myself well, I didn't actually, it was free off the internet, because you can get free stuff off the internet. I only paid for the postage. It's an octopus steampunk Hulu tentacle ring. Lovecraft was a genius. He understood. I like the little campaign they have in America. Cthulhu for president, because he's going to win anyway. Oh, tentacles in everything. Now, whether this is a genuine thing, which is probably not, or it's metaphorical, or it's you know, an allegory, you know, whatever word you want to use, whether it's someone's ironic genius being able to actually manifest into literary world, and then into pretty much all your horror, actually. It's not really Poe. Alone in the Dark games, Alone in the Dark films, yeah, pretty much. It's quite a lot more, but, you know. My guardians, they were lovely. They had management of toy shops, and they used to go to toy fairs. So when all the Steve Jackson and what's his face, sorry bloke, I have no idea anymore, books, you know, the Roll Your Own Adventure ones and all D&D and everything came out here, they used to go to the toy fairs in Nottingham, right? And I was the girl they didn't have, and they were like the mum and dad I didn't have, and they're really lovely, and they're two boys, like one was a bit older than me and one was a little bit younger than me, and we all got on quite well, and yeah, really, really lovely people, very lovely people. Taught me how to ride, taught me how to look after myself better, taught me how to play. That was nice. I used to go in the downstairs toilet, right, and a really nice house in Cedar Avenue in Christchurch, near Iford, right, and it was right on the ley line, goes up through St Catherine's Hill, all the way to the Henge in Wiltshire, right, and it taught me how to walk ley lines, and we used to go play up St Catherine's Hill. We used to have camp outs in the garden, and go and see the horse. I've had so many people try and force me to ride a bicycle. Don't do this shit to people. No means no. You wouldn't like it very much, would you? Now stop it. I don't like bicycles. I think anyone that can cycle is really cool, but it's not for me, alright? I was given the chance to be put on a horse at 4 years old, and they have a leg at each corner, and they don't fall over the same as a bicycle. Great, interesting instruments. I mean, amazing. My ex-husband was a downhill mountain bike competitor and did jiu-jitsu. Shouldn't have used it on me. No. Dragon punched me down the hallway when he refused to leave my house once. I'm in a tantrum. And someone's 6'2", and I'm 5'6", 5'7", depending on whether my spine's put back in, which is really fucked at the moment. But I can't afford an osteopath, because apparently £9.64 is enough disability benefit a day for someone that's been fucking not even had the time to scratch my own arse on an appointment in the last 14 and a half, 15 years, because you keep depressing me with forms. Forms? You know, I don't care if it's recycled paper. How many trees have been murdered for this? The trees are our green lungs, right? We need them. If you don't like nature, you've got a problem with yourself. I like nature. Apparently it loves me. I got home the other night, and I've been sitting in a park just enjoying it. And I've got a home to go to. Yay. And this is kind of novel. Longer than some of my college days. Sometimes you've got to go and here and there and everywhere, but no, it's quite cool. So I had 2 snails in my bag, go figure, upside down, going ooh, ooh, we can't come out, we didn't know what to do. Yeah, me and nature get on alright, mostly. I still feel really icky about everything, but got to explore this sensory perception thing, and autism thing further, but I've been in so much pain, I've just been sleeping really. Apparently the Christians have a phrase which was, love the sinner, not the sin. Bit of a bleak outlook there really, isn't it? The King James Bible is a weapon. It was decoded like the Enigma machine. King James I of England and VI of Scotland was not an idiot. I always fancied learning Aramaic. Sounds beautiful. But no, seriously. Man writes the words down for the last 2,000 years, apparently. Now, there's something in the hormones that means women's and men's blood carry different things, like, for instance, haemophilia, like gender of a child. Men carry the gene for the gender of the child, and male genes determine whether it's a girl or a boy. So for the last 2,000 odd years, or whatever you want to call it, because I really don't care anymore, I'm losing time all over the place. I have no idea what's going on half the time. I know this is nice, but you know, that time, those three faiths, Judaism, Islam and Christianity, are all from the same pot, the same melting pot. Okay? Now, in men's genes, a man that can produce a girl has a stronger gene pool. Maybe when he gets older, he'll only be able to produce boys. Every virus we have affects us. For us women, every child we carry, whether we carry it to term or not, that will change our DNA structure, because obviously you've got another person's DNA in there. And you can say, you can disprove this as much as you want, but women do absorb the DNA of men, very much so. And people wonder why when it kicks off everything gets a bit feisty, yeah? Well, that is a good start to explain it. So, domestic violence within the sports and arts and sciences and everything, right, is not what you call domestic violence, okay? There's a thing called handling. It's a minder, basically, to keep you doing as you're told all the time. And a few weeks before I had to leave, we helped somebody who is a long-term professional and very poorly person, who has had very good times of doing well and is currently not well. We kind of got offered to stay there the night, me and Ian. Before he left, he was planning to leave. Anyway, that's not my business. I'd already said I was leaving and I'd already made my plans to leave. So we stayed there, and the next day they decided to kick him out 4 days early because of our presence in a YMCA halfway house in Bournemouth. Now, that day, when we were having to try and sell stuff so that there was actually room, right, he asked me if I'd manage his career, and I said no, because when I was in my mid-20s and I had ME and I nearly died of it, I was ending up trying to help other people learn how to manage their professional capabilities, how to price your work. Don't sell your paintings for £2.50. Give them away for free to somebody you think you want to have it, who would accept it and love it and look after it. Don't sell yourself for a pittance. Don't sell yourself at all. Sell your work, a product that you make, you can sell with a clean conscience. But, you know, it's just ridiculous. If you're not going to put a decent price on your work, they're not going to buy it. And if you go to somewhere in London, like Dover Street, and you get it a print put in an A1 or A0 poster rack downstairs, they'll mark you up to 600%. Nobody's going to see that work. 600% on my time. Now, that's just one instance. So, handlers, right? This guy, after I'd refused to be his manager, a few weeks later, he turned up without my permission. I was meant to go sit down by the river for half an hour and have a chat. I got kidnapped for 2 days, right? Because he asked me to be his professional handler, and I told him no. Handle your own shit, manage your own shit, clean up your own shit, stop causing the shit and then you and nobody else has to clean it up. Stop being an arsehole. So that was like fucking sketchy. Ended up going over towards Stonehenge, wanted to stop and say hello to my friends in Wiltshire. My dad's Askew family, I met 2 of them, lovely people. His auntie and uncle in Sarum, Old Sarum, when I was 15, was that 1989. So, yeah. Any more death threats coming from Wiltshire aren't going to come off well, yeah? I'll come from there, don't start that. I had that 10 years ago. Yeah, I gave you my address, said to put the kettle on, come round for a cup of tea. Didn't turn up. Pussy. Yeah, people that do. They don't threaten, it's that simple. I'm not like that. Don't even start. I'm not interested. I don't care about your bullshit. It's your bullshit. Stop putting it on other people. You're meant to pass on the good, not spread the shit. Alright? Love yourselves better. You're having a row with yourself and the entire world. You can't do that. If you're not going to talk to yourself nicely, what do you expect? You're going to end up getting really, really ill. You're driving your own selves crazy. Alright? Yeah, I've been a bit crazy at times. I've been a bit very crazy. And I've done stupid shit. And do you know what? I'm still here. And I can still laugh about it because it's alright to laugh at yourself. Laughing at other people when they're going through shit is called Schadenfreude. It's a German word. Laughing at other people's misfortune, I believe. But feel free to look it up because my memory's a bit fucked. So if you're laughing at someone else's misfortune, don't expect them not to laugh at yours, alright? Trust is a special gift, and it's given to you to learn how far you can trust someone. The someone you should be trusting is yourself. Trust yourself. If you trust yourself, it doesn't matter about anybody else. What other people think of you is not your business. What you think of them is not their business. They're not interested. Leave them alone. Right? If you don't like someone, actively avoiding them is not passively avoiding them. You don't need confrontations. No one needs confrontations. Just leave each other alone. There's plenty more interesting things to do in the world. If you actually had a look, right? Very, very rarely I get people take like a bit of a mouthy exception to me when I used to be busking and stuff, and it's just like, don't like the look at me, jog on mate, because there's 6 million more interesting things than me to look at. I'm really not that interesting. I pretty much like to read books, and I can't read books anymore. I can't hardly see. I'm going to have to put this down soon. And I drink tea, and I chill out, I go to nature. I used to see the people I loved and their kids and their animals and spend time with them, because that's what's real in this world. Children and animals won't bullshit you. And if they are lying, it's probably because they've got a reason to. Just because you don't understand something or haven't experienced it doesn't mean it doesn't have value. I've had my whole life being over-expected. The expectations I've had put on me, and then the expectations I put on myself, was so ridiculous. But I'm also strangely overlooked. And there's lots of people out there that I've tried to help over the last few years, because they were really screaming at each other on the internet like it was a schoolyard and we were all 12 again. And it's quite sad, really, especially when they're considerably older than me. And it's not an age thing. It's what are you doing? You need to stop this. It's not about us. None of this is about us. Right? If someone's having a go, it's probably about them. They don't feel heard. They don't feel listened to. Their only way of interacting is by being horrible. You know, horrible with a capital O and a little like comma before it, yeah. Horrible. So, in sports and arts and science and high profile situations, politics, religion, whatever you want to call your field, right? There's managers and there's handlers and there's contracts, and you sign a contract and you're owned. There's plenty of portals to do it online without signing a contract. You don't need to sign a contract. And partners are often an issue, and dating anyone outside of creativity is impossible, really, because the timescales don't work. I mean, 9 to 5 doesn't fit with going out and doing gigs. Nor does it fit with having a good siesta first, so that you can actually enjoy it. Oscar Pistorius, there we go. Let's take a prime example, right, of the show trial of Oscar Pistorius. Now, if he had, and this is a hypothesis, multiple personality disorder, like a lot of people in the industry, because of the intense kind of training when we were children. I was trained to do the full Paris can somewhere between the age of 4 and 7 at a method acting school in Richmond Park Road in Bournemouth in the late 70s, right, maybe 1980. For the boys standing on stage, for the boys sitting cross-legged underneath us. Now this is sexualisation of children, okay? We had all our boundaries broken without even doing anything bad. I mean, if you're doing like a show or an exhibition or a competition or something, right, you're all expected to get undressed and change in the same room. And maybe for insurance purposes it wouldn't be doable to have them all in separate rooms, and maybe it wouldn't be doable to have them all in separate rooms with separate people. However, there's no boundaries there, okay? You're expected to be naked in front of complete strangers and everybody else. So, Oscar Pistorius, if he had multiple personality disorder, and he was currently not in his right mind when he shot Reeva Steencamp, would not remember shooting her the way it seems to have been occurring in the evidence in a court of their law in whichever land it was, because I really can't watch show trials. I really can't watch media. I'm not really interested in what they've got to say because they've got nothing to tell me. I'm telling myself what I need to know, and I'm informing myself by actually having conversations with people. And, you know, there's a dying art, conversation. Making love's a dying art, but having a conversation, now that's a lost art form. Yeah. Go out and strike up a conversation. Stop calling everyone on public transport bus wankers. Why don't you get on a bus and actually experience a conversation with a complete stranger? Because you might actually find something touches your mind or your heart or your soul. Because actually those are the conversations you can have that you can't have with someone that knows you, because they have judgments about you, because they seem to think they have the right because they're close to you. Non-attachment. Learn non-attachment. It's really hard to do. Yeah, and some people won't leave nicely. They will need to have a row about it. I've been singing for up to thousands of people, hundreds of people, tens of people, chorally since I was 4. I don't have a barmaid's cleavage. I don't, you know, I'm not built like a Valkyrie, but I can project it if I need to. And sometimes people need to have a row about it. Okay, if we want to play, I'm going to be the bigger the nutter than you, then please just go away. But, you know, for me, non-attachment means being able to pick my stuff up and walk away, even if I'm still fucking crying when I'm going. In last time's case, puking, fainting, drooling. Pretty fucking nasty, to be quite frank. So if someone has multiple personality disorder and it's deliberately or not deliberately been diagnosed, and they also have, say, drug and alcohol-induced psychosis, which is something that they don't tell people they have till maybe up to 8, 5, 10 years after they've been diagnosed with whatever they've been diagnosed with in the first place, then they're not going to remember what they do. So that's the hard part, because if you don't remember what you do, you can't take responsibility for it, and then it sounds like everyone's making it up. So that person doesn't understand why everyone hates them and what they're supposed to have done. And, you know, I've got gaps in my memory that I can't remember things I've done, still to this day. But then again, you're not meant to remember everything. Would you like to remember every single fork and knife you washed up? Every time you went to the toilet, every second of that? Would you like to remember cleaning the bins out? Or pulling the hair out the plug hole? I don't think so. Yeah. My stepdad, my heroin adult paedophile stepdad that was run by his mother, right, taught me hate doesn't work because he was a monster, right? A monster's a monster. Like a gazebo's a gazebo, or a PC's a PC, or a spade is a spade. It is what it is. Hating it for what it is stupid. The problem is the people that let the monsters back out again. That's the problem. Now, when these said people investigate crimes to do with finances, because financial fraud crimes are more important in this law of this land, the maritime law of this land. Remember, Britannia rules the waves. Do you remember that bit? So the maritime law of this land says money is more important than human life. So follow the money. Anyway, I've got to go because I'm really cold. Happy Saturday. If any of my stuff turns up, can you hold on to it, please? I had my aloe vera fluoro-free toothpaste stolen again in Boscombe. Never mind. I hope they use it. It might help. Be good. And if you can't be good, leave each other alone and go and have a conversation with yourself. It's okay. Alright? It's better than having a row in your own head. Don't listen to those loud voices. Listen to the quiet one. You know the cartoons where they have an angel on that shoulder and a devil on that shoulder there, right? Where's the voice on that shoulder talking to you? The one that should be talking to your conscience, alright? If you're only listening to that one, then it's not going to help, is it? The ones that shout loudest just want attention. Well, starve them of attention. Yeah? Negative energy is a vacuum. It's going to suck it all out of you. So the best thing to do is cut off the supply. If to cut off the supply, you have to call them every name under the sun, then go for it. Because if they don't know that they're a handler or in that position, because they're in a different personality state, and I'm not talking about just multiple personality disorder. You know, we are not the same person with our mothers, our brothers, our lovers, our children, our bosses, our work colleagues. You are a multifaceted being. You are not the same person all the time. You are different aspects of yourself, different personality traits, different roles, okay? And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're mental. It means you're actually living. If you're one thing all the time, you're not living. And I don't think a lot of you are living. I think you're doing what I did for years, especially when I was on the medication they kept giving me, like haloperidol and Mogadon, because now I've explored a little more about the sensory perception thing, yeah? It explains a lot, especially my crazy sex life, which I very rarely have, and I don't generally have with anyone I don't love. So if anyone's out there saying that I have, then you're either lying or you could have drugged me and done it. So either way, you're not right in the head, are you? Alright. So I'll leave you on that note. I'll be okay at some point, I'm sure. Just right now I'm very poorly and I need a lot of sleep. My body's in system shock. I've been shaking and shivering for 2 days. And apparently it's not that cold. No, apparently the heat and light and cold and hot sensitivity thing's something to do with perception disorder, whatever it's called. The 7 senses on that scale, you see. So they're getting there a bit. Oh look, I was given this Superman t-shirt, right, by a new friend, because I've been feeling a bit worn and I hadn't seen anyone for days. So that's kind of nice. And go and see Wonder Woman. It's really cool. It's really cool. I've liked Wonder Woman, Batman and the Silver Surfer were mine, yeah? So they were my favourites from when I was little. Yeah, Wonder Woman's pretty good. Little did we all know down Bournemouth Ice Rink and Westover Road all those years that we were skating with the once and future Batman. Hey, if Christian Bale chooses to put his name to a new permanent ice rink in Bournemouth, it will get done. I did try and explain this to the people that run the Westover Ice Rink memorial thing and all the rest of it, but I don't understand. a human interaction anymore, because you're not actually interacting. You're conversing with, I don't know what you're talking about. Look, I'm not being rude, I just don't sit and tell me all about what happens on EastEnders or Coronation Street, because I don't care. I'm not being rude, I just have no care for it. I don't want to know. Why don't you talk about something more interesting, like you, or the sky, or the trees, or the birds, or, you know, something real, your animals, your kids, you know, what you like to do. Why don't you talk about you instead of talking about everyone else? What do you like to do? Do you like to paint? Do you like to sing? Do you like to make your own clothes? Are you a secret train spotter? You know, what do you like to do? Now, bus spotters always puzzle me a bit, because, you know, buses do go quite far, but trains go a lot further. I kind of get that. But each to their own. It's a passion. Be passionate, you know. Appassionata actually doesn't mean love. It means the full extent of pain. The appassionata is like the after moment, after the Renaissance paintings of the deposition of Christ from the cross. Alright? Passion means pain. It doesn't mean love. However, if you're going to feel pain, then feel it. Embrace it. Learn from it. Try and move on. It's hard when you've got PTSD, and body cell memory and PTSD prove we can recreate any feeling, because our bodies are recreating a memory. This is the pain I've been having in my forehead the last few days, as well as the system shock where I was headbutted. So, you know, that means you don't need other things to recreate a good experience. You can take yourself there with memory. If people lose their sense of smell, right, they lose their memory. And remember, music is very evocative. First there was sound, and then there was light, if you buy into that version. But yeah, that makes sense. Light, sound, molecules. We're all molecules. Jiggle your molecules, get up and dance, go for a jog. Don't jog on a pavement. The guy that decided to invent jogging died of a heart attack. Go and jog on, if you want a good exercise, jog on sand, yeah? That'll wear you out. But jog on grass, you know? Go for a walk, go for power. Go get in a car and find a mountain and go for a walk, because by the time you're at the top, you won't be pissed off anymore. You'll be going, wow, this is really pretty. Take a couple of thermoses of tea or coffee and lots of snacks. And if you're not dairy intolerant, get some Kendal mint cake. It's really lovely. Or take some proper good cocoa chocolate. I tried Montezuma not long ago. It's pure cocoa chocolate. It's amazing. If you want to make a nice chilli, put a little lump of proper chocolate on there, not that Cadbury shit. Jesus Christ, that isn't chocolate. It's probably got more shit in it than the Victorian stuff. What you put in is what you get out, okay? If you're a car, would you pass an MOT? I wouldn't. But then again, I've not been driving for 14 and a half, 15 years because my legs don't behave. Because I have a repetitive leg injury because I danced from the age of 4 and did lessons and did ice figure skating and competition sports, competition arts. I lived life. I got out and lived. I may have been born in a city and raised in suburbs of a town, right? But we went out to the countryside as much as possible. We went out to the forest for picnics. We went out for walks. We went and did things. We got in the car and we drove somewhere and we went camping. We got back to nature. We booked in a B&B for a few nights and we went wandering, or we stayed with friends. Go out there, all right? This is a beautiful country. What are you all fighting for about people having what we've got? Go out and find out what we've actually got, all right? Go and have a look at this country. Go outdoors and actually have a look at it and stop fighting. Maybe you'll be amazed. Alright, nature's pretty fucking awesome, and it will help you put your thoughts in perspective. A good walk by the beach or a park or mountains, somewhere as far away from people as possible, will make your massive problem go. At the state of my nicotine on my hands, I've got to give up smoking. I'm being so stressed and smoking terribly. Can't afford it. It costs more than a day's money to get a packet of nicotine. Great. Anyway, be good to yourselves, yeah? If you can't be nice to other people, leave them alone. You'll be alright if you look after yourself. Put the best fuel in your body you can. Have a good day, folks.